Hello, hello. Bl'Artagnan here with Divine Realm Extra Hard. I guess this is a pseudo-Lufania plus fight-ish, level 250. Scary stuff. It is once again the Shinryu raid fight, the same as with the initial Lufania fight, so that's kind of a neat little homage of sorts. Bringing in an all-immortal team of Galuf, Queen, and Ardyn. We're also not bringing a burst weapon and not bringing a friend unit. If they end up announcing a extreme TCC challenge for this, hopefully this will qualify. If they don't, it wouldn't be the first time that a Galuf ban ended up messing with my plans there. Speaking of Galuf, you'll see that I actually haven't pressed his LD yet. We've started with cover and with Shihirodori, because we want to maximize that LD as much as we can and kind of in the second wave of the fight, because that's where things get really, really, really scary. I say that, but things get a bit tense here too. Of course, let's get the shilling out of the way. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps support the channel. It's a fairly small thing that really goes a long way to helping promote this channel's growth. So I appreciate it. So Queen, you'll see I'm just short of being able to use her EX, which would have been great to use here. So I Brave Attack to prevent the team from getting broken. As a result, she's able to survive thanks to Last Stand. From here on out, she'll be able to stay functionally immortal for whenever we need to survive any big attacks, because Queen continues to show her versatility. Premier Aurabot, solid defensive support, and bizarre zombie character. I feel like there's a High School of the Dead joke to be made somewhere here, but I think I'll avoid that. I'm enjoying the changes to Ardyn. They're small, but they help his longevity and they help his damage, and his kit is fundamentally solid, so that's all he really needs to be usable. Maybe not, Von Tifa levels of overpowered, but you can make him work, At the end of the day, a follow-up instant break and consecutive turns off break are always going to be powerful things to have, ignoring his immortality. You're going to be noticing that before I get into that, you'll notice that I mostly will be using Devastate throughout this fight. I use Ballester Lunge here just to try to kill him, but I'm mostly going to be using Devastate to try to maintain uptime on her EX, because I'm less concerned about her damage per turn in this fight, since the turn count's a very generous 100. More concerned with her staying in the Immortal stance, her EX buff. I kind of wish it wasn't called Setsu Arousal or whatever, because I don't want to call it her arousal stance, because that just sounds wrong. Now, we're on to the second wave. And this is where the fun begins, I guess. There we go. We're all nice and safe. This guy's going to be jumping through a bunch of different stances. The other guy had an aura. This fight is basically the same as the original Shinryu fight in Lufania, with the exception that they have like a counter if you take 5 instant turns in a row or something like that. I'm not really sure what that is all about, but I never see it in this fight and don't really care about it. But the gist of it is every action or so, they're going to change the color of he's going to change the color of his aura, and it does different things. It tells you what it does. Yellow is can't be delayed or broken, break delayed. Purple turns off your healing battery. Green is guaranteed hit and he heals when he attacks, so you kind of don't want him to use the recast when that's the case. But it's also kind of the weakest stance, so you're not a big deal. Blue is immune to brave damage, and that sucks, so we want him to be in that as little as possible. Since I kind of waved over the first wave, basically he does a bunch of AoE HP attacks. His recast and his thresholds, he does them. And after doing them, he turns off your healing until he acts or something like that. That was part of the reason I was like, you know what, zombie team, we're not dealing with not being able to heal ourselves from this damage. Once again, Warrior of Light just kind of slaps his fight, so if you're having any trouble at all, just bring Warrior of Light. And if you don't have Warrior of Light, get him next time he comes. Everyone should have access to that character. He's busted, and he always becomes busted whenever they buff him. Main character of the game. You'll see here, I also let Overkill fall off because I'm a doofus. So we're going to go ahead and waste our our third Ardyn LD just to get it back up, because that was a little bit of an oversight on my part. You'll see the UI is kind of ruining me right now in terms of the buff overlap. I appreciate the changes they've been making to the UI to make it easier and better and stuff, but at this point, all these giant bosses are making the characters stack up in a way that it's impossible to tell all the buffs just by looking at the character. You have to long click on them, and it's a little bit of a pain. That said, I do appreciate the changes to the menu, so don't want to, not going to be ungrateful about that. So I still have no idea what makes him do this Trinity attack, but it hits pretty hard if you're not an Immortal team, and if you don't dodge everything like that. We're going to be getting quite a few lucky dodges during the course of this fight. Getting a free turn. Well, we didn't get a free turn because... Okay, good. I didn't let Shadow Step fall off. Because of this whole buff overlap thing, I have a very hard time keeping track of what buffs Ardyn has on him, and I keep losing track, letting them fall off, but it's okay. Who needs optimal play when you don't have a burst or a friend unit, you know? Bringing Tidus here for the defense down. You'll see we took advantage of Faris' call earlier, because the orb for this fight is for the boss to have less than 25% of its max brave. And I figure, well, if we just put Faris' call on them, he'll be at 0 brave at the end of every turn. That'll be easy. Interesting thing about the defense down debuffs that I've been bringing. These bosses actually have something interesting going on. Their base stat total their base stats are actually lower than most bosses, but they get secret passive buffs to their stats. The long and short of it is the devs did a tricky little thing with the way these guys' stats work, so that they're less impacted by debuffs than most bosses. So that's defense down is less potent here than it has been in other fights. Luckily, we're still bringing a ton of brave damage and attack auras from the party we've set up here, so it's not a humongous deal. But I just thought that was a pretty clever thing for them to do. So, kind of goofed there a little bit. So you see Queen took a pretty big hit there. I could have Balestra lunged into a skill probably and would have had her EX charge, but I wanted to make absolutely sure that it would only take one more skill use to charge her EX. Again, I'm very concerned about, the uptime of that EX stance. Luckily, once again, combination of misses and mitigation keep the recast from killing us. The orb is back, we hate it. Gets defense up while the orb is out, so that's the main reason we have the Tidus call here. Lower that a little bit so we can at least scratch it while this is the case. Realizing that Overkill had fallen off again. There we go. We're actually going to hold off on pressing that EX button until Ardyn's next turn, just to maximize his longevity here, because free skills are nice to have. And you'll see that Ardyn gets pretty spent by the end of this fight. If only I could use that burst weapon that I had pulled, spent a bunch of gems on, and haven't used yet. I'm not bitter. Let's go ahead and hit that. Oh, that doesn't do that. That was no damage at all. Ardyn, what the hell? Once again, they get some beefy defense when the recast's up. Overall, I have to say, the first time I fought the Shinryu during the original Lufania fight, I just brought Warrior of Light and kind of herp dirt my way through it and thought to myself, well, I'm good at this game. No shame in that, I just was new to the game and didn't really know how it worked. Now that I'm like interacting with the way the fight works and the pacing and the cadence of it, it's actually a fascinating and complex fight. I really enjoyed it. Granted, I did have to bring a team of all zombies because the HP attacks are pretty darn punishing and not being able to heal sucks, but it was cool revisiting this fight and actually finding, oh, there's actually a lot going on here when I'm not just Warrior of Lighting my way through it. Although, as I said, you should have Warrior of Light if you don't already, because I'd say he's probably like the must-have unit in this game, personally. Just because you know that he's going to stay a good investment, basically at all times. Thanks to both his power and the fact that devs love to dote on him. Anywho, what are we doing here? We're applying Faris, we're hitting them and doing stuff. I think we're gonna summon here. Yeah, we're going for the kill. We don't want him to recast one more time if we could avoid it, just because our buffs are starting to run out. I think Galuf's running out of his LD buff. Ardyn's gonna be running out of his immortality soon. We're getting down to the wire. Heck, we're not even using a skill with Ardyn there because he's getting so spent. We're gonna use it there though to charge his EX. 13%, oof, this is getting close. I mean, once again, in terms of turn count, the 100 turns is nothing. We were able to handle that easily. But at this point, we've lost the immortality that this team relies on to survive all of the HP attacks that are thrown out. So, I'm feeling the stress. We're gonna go ahead and reset that real quick. I'm gonna go ahead and just hit him real hard. Real hard, you know? Push him back, try to keep that recast from going off. We'll finally use some Ballester lunges. Use an LD. And we're going to use Ardyn's last skill. Eesh. 1%, seriously? Oh my god. Uh-oh. That's not good. And he healed off that. So we're missing the HP requirement right now, so we're going to actually Brave Attack with Ardyn twice. Feels bad, man. So that we can Divine Judgment and heal ourselves back up. Then we're going to go ahead and dual wield Blade Blitz. And it's not going to kill him because this guy's tanky and we are kind of out of juice at this point. Luckily, Faris reduced him to 0, so we don't have to shave. He's immune to Brave damage though, because god damn it, you know? Of course he is. 0 damage counter, can't knock him back. Okay, come on, Queen, do something for us here. Ones, hitting ones. We are loving this. And did you see that? He missed them both. He missed them both. He sucks. Okay, well that was I earned that. I deserved that. And I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Adios.